Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of A Coffee with Chris, the social media show that helps you create impact. As always, brought to you in association with our charity partners, 𝗖𝗄𝗄𝗄, who help local people affected by cancer, and Game Plan Coffee, Paddy and Scott's special coffee partnership with the High Performance Foundation. Every single bag you buy helps them support the work of the High Performance Foundation, funding programs that help young people across the UK develop the mindset and tools to thrive in life, not just survive it. So if you're like me and you're addicted, love coffee, then make sure you grab yourself a bag. You are helping young people and making a difference. I've been drinking it today. I think I've had 3 already today. Oh God, I've exposed myself now. It's absolutely delicious. You must buy yourself a bag. It is well worth it. Of course, this podcast is always sponsored by Oliver Hill of Hill Coaching Company, Gemma Crane from Mindset HR, and Callum Howard from Limitless Film and Media. Let's welcome today's guest. Super excited to be joined by founder of Rolling Wave Media, Will George. Rolling Wave Media are a Norwich-based video production company creating high-quality content for businesses across the county, from golf courses to tech firms and everything in between. Welcome to Coffee with Chris. Will, I really want to ask you straight away why you have the oomph, the passion for what you do. I know that you're particularly passionate about moving brands away from being stuck in the past. So what's your why for what you do, Will?
I think the reason why I do it is I've just sort of over the years sort of gained a sort of passion towards learning about. I've always been really inquisitive about just learning about people and their businesses and stuff like that. So my degree is in film production. I specialize in my final year doing documentary, and I just find learning about people and their businesses and their journey really interesting. And it's definitely one of the reasons I do it, because working with all these businesses, you never know who's going to pop up in your inbox next. One minute you're working with a golf course, learning all about golf. Next minute I'm learning about wind turbines and stuff at a tech company. So I think that's one of the reasons why I do it. And also just I've always loved being creative and making videos and movies and stuff since I've been a kid. And so for me, it's one of the best ways to sort of combine sort of everything together. And once again, it's also great just to sort of help out local businesses and stuff as well. It's nice to sort of see what an impact the videos can sort of have for them too. So I guess that's sort of the why.
Love that, Will. Do you know, you've got me thinking off script for sure. But I want to kind of throw something at you. Given your education around kind of documentaries and things like that, there is very much this kind of this saying within the marketing world of not creating but documenting. I think it's 𝗖𝗵𝗿𝗶𝘀 who came out with that one. I like that idea when it comes to video content, and I'm sure you do too, because I think many businesses are overthinking and trying to create this almost perfect, polished, pre-planned thing, but they don't realize that with that mindset of actually I'm just going to document what I'm doing and how we help people, that could be quite a good mindset for video for business, right?
Yeah, I definitely think that. That's one of the things I actually talk to a lot of my clients about, is sort of going for this sort of more unpolished approach, and also like you said, just documenting different bits and different bits and pieces, because it's it's great to sort of have this video evidence of sort of where it started and where it's going. I had a call this morning with my potential prospect client, and they've sort of they're starting a business, and they're about to launch it, but have been filming their journey for the last 18 months. And then their business is not even out, and because they've seen all these other people do it, they've retroactively done it already, which is massive. But there's so many businesses out there that haven't done that, and it's look, it's not too late to start now. Even if you are a big corporate, I think what the most important thing now is people have no brand loyalty. People want to buy from people and not want to buy from big corporate brands. And so by having sort of a name to a business, or a face, or just people they can sort of know that, oh, we know Chris, he works for X company or whatever, he's the face of that business. So it's just nice to sort of be able to if people can do that, it's really refreshing. And 𝗖𝗵𝗿𝗶𝘀 is been doing it for literally years and has been at the forefront of it. So I think if he's sort of talking about it, then it's pretty solid advice.
Yeah, I think I think there's this whole thing around creating trust with people, right, Will? And of the people that I've spoken to when I'm advising them with their social consultancy, management, etc., do more video, commit to video, document your process, your journey, your how you help your customers, etc. Often I get faced with the response, well, that's a bit boring, Chris. I'm a bit boring, or my business is a bit boring. But I think people don't realize just how interesting their business is, and especially to people that might want to buy into them, whether it be from an estate agency, as you say, to something more sexy like a golf course, etc. I think maybe people need to remember how interesting it is that they do all of these incredible things, and they probably take that for granted. Am I wrong on that, Will?
No, I'd sort of agree. Like, it's curiosity massively. Like, it's like when you look at, like, when people are scrolling on social and stuff, you see the things that are getting like crazy views. It's like, you know, you've got people who literally, there's a guy, I remember he went big in COVID, he's still big now. He's like, he's called the pool guy, and all he does is clean swimming pools for living.
Yeah.
And it's like inherently, if you met someone, like, you know, at a function at the pub or a party or whatever, it's like, what do you do? Clean swimming pools. You'd be like, it might not be the most glamorous and glossy job, but you probably would be like, oh, so how does that work? And then it's like, you know, and he'd probably, you know, launch into it and stuff. Whereas, like, it's the same with the video. It's sort of like when people ask you what your business does, as opposed to them not saying you do this in public, but be like, what do? You just show them your phone and be like, look, here's a video of me at work cleaning a pool or whatever. And so, yeah, people just don't realize that their job, for some people, like, everyone is interesting to someone, like, and you're always in a position. I think, like, someone told me at one point, like, you're always in like a position someone else is wanting to be in, if that makes sense. Like for me, I'm only 25, and I graduated uni 3 or 4 years ago. But I've been going back to like my old college and stuff to go do like talks about being a freelancer and being a business owner. And for me, like, I'm not necessarily where I want to be at the moment, but like in their eyes, you're further down the road than they are. And so it's the same for when people are curious about other industries and businesses, I guess. So people are just wanting to have this curiosity and like to learn about stuff. I definitely think it is really cool, because like you are finding out about industries and jobs which you wouldn't necessarily find out about. And like, as someone who came from the film industry, I see a lot of people posting about, you know, how like the film industry works and stuff like that. And so people are like, for me, I'm just like, oh yeah, I remember learning about that at work. And like for other people, like, this is stuff I never would ever get to see ever. And I think regardless what industry you're in, just because it's boring to you doesn't mean it's boring to everyone else. So it's worth documenting it. Like, even if you're like, people always think like accountants and stuff like that are like boring, but I've edited for like content for accountants before and stuff like that, and it can be useful and beneficial to people. They just don't realize it because it's like their daily thing.
Big up accountants that are tuning into this. Will, we always like to cover the starting step. So I'm intrigued to kind of come to you on this. When a founder or marketing manager or whoever comes to you with no clear idea of what they need, what's the kind of first steps that you would kind of take them through to kind of diagnose what their kind of problem is with video content, and kind of how you go about solving that?
I think it's sort of like, besides the obvious one, go away and come back when you've got, you know what you want. It'd just be a case of sort of like looking at what is their like end goal, like, first of all, and you can sort of like reverse engineer it. And for a lot of them, it's usually like, oh, we want to, you know, increase sales or build a presence on socials or something like that. And then you can sort of like reverse engineer the content, be like, right, what's someone who's similar or like a competitor or someone doing, you sort of analyze what's working for them. And then also like maybe analyze, you know, their current pieces of content, maybe how you can make that better and maybe why it's not working. Because ultimately a lot of people like say they've tried social media or something, but for them it's like, you know, they've posted a couple Canva templates on socials and just like, well, it's not working, let's get like 1 like or something. And it's like, yeah, but it's because like it's not content people want to see. And you've also got to like, I try to get my clients into the mindset of like, if you were your customer or, you know, a client of yours, what would it be that you're sort of like looking for? And then sort of like go from there. I think it really depends on the business, because if it's sort of like more like a business to business type thing, you are pitching in like a corporate environment, and often that sort of work is like not like samey, but it's sort of like it's quite consistent in what people are looking for. Whereas something with socials, it can be like the full range of the counter, basically. But I definitely think that the reverse engineering approach is definitely a good one. And then also think about how you don't have to be original with your content. Not saying you got to follow trends and do like TikTok dances and stuff to like sell a house if you're an estate agent, but like just find like a content format that works for you. I find like something I talked about a lot to people, like content, what I describe as like serialization. So like there's definitely a lot of like people post a lot of series online now. Like you see people like the career ladder guy. He's got that's one concept, right? And he does 600 million views a month off one concept alone. So if you can find something that works for you in your business, like you can just keep like milking it until like the cows come home, basically.
I don't mind people coming on this podcast and disagreeing with them. I don't mind having that kind of positive, challenging stuff going on. But you're speaking my language there on a couple of points. But particularly about kind of creating this almost timeless, evergreen content series, if you like, and doing what works for that person. I think there is this kind of perception that you have to do the kind of corny TikTok trend dances and things, etc., to kind of make progress when it comes to your video content. But actually, video content full stop as a baseline, doing what you're comfortable in doing and producing and committing to frequently will create so much success. And often when video content booms, people will then watch back all of the rest of the videos that you've done in the past, right? So
yeah.
you're speaking my language, my friend, which is always helpful to know that I'm on the right track, as well as potential clients as well. And Will, one of the things I know you are particularly passionate about is pairing storytelling with strategy. Can you walk us through perhaps the bridge of creativity with kind of commercial objectives, because it's something that I'm constantly preaching to my clients all the time around creating content that's in line with your commercial objectives rather than just posting for posting's sake. And I'm sensing that you're on the same wavelength with that.
Yeah, like from a full creative filmmaker perspective, like for me as like creative, like you just want to make content that's cool and like, you know, you enjoy making. However, that's not the world we live in, and I'm sure like brands and businesses want to do the same thing, like make whatever content they want and it gets like 1 million views and they get like 1,000 new leads or something. But that's not like the world you live in, and you've got to sort of, like I said that last point, like you've got to reverse engineer it and stuff. But the thing about like storytelling is it's the oldest form of marketing in a way. Like you think about those cave paintings from like, you know, whatever BC, and it's like we've figured out they were telling stories through cave paintings, right? So storytelling has always been a way of us communicating ideas between people, and it's no different now. And it's sort of like people want to sort of like, especially on socials, be like, you know, flashy, like emojis flashing on screen, crazy cuts, all this stuff. Whereas you can sort of just, if you go back to basics, if you've got a great story like that's really engaging and hooked people, then you don't have to worry about all of that stuff. And like, yes, it's a harder option, but it pays off like better like down the line. And it doesn't have to be like the story. You're not trying to be Christopher Nolan. You're not trying to tell like Inception or like Oppenheimer or something. It can be like as simple as sort of like you introduce a problem like at the start of your video, be it like for the pool guys, for example, it's like, oh, look at this really dirty pool. Like that's like act one of your story. You found the problem. The middle part is them showing you how you're going to fix it, and then the final bit is the solution or the resolution. So that's storytelling in its most basic form, and that's like, if you can like communicate that with your product or service, regardless of what it is, like if you're a pool cleaner, an accountant, a tech company, a golf course, or whatever, like that sort of, you can still hit your commercial objectives by like using the powers of storytelling. You haven't got to reinvent the wheel, and like people will come to your content for like, I think it's like one of 3 reasons, like to be entertained, to be educated, or to be inspired. And you need to hit like at least one of those buckets for it to sort of make sense, or like the more buckets you can hit, like the better, arguably. But yeah, and I think that's something that like a lot of people sort of forget about. I think it's like when I see someone do something that isn't hitting those, it's just like you're just wasting, you're burning your marketing budget.
We are going to talk about the mistakes, but I look forward to getting your opinions on that. I think often people kind of dump features and benefits, don't they, when it comes to their video content, and they don't realize just a simple story, even if it's a 30-second to tops 2 minutes piece on how you took client A to B, customer A to B, you know, and showing people the process through storytelling. I didn't expect, in fact, this is the first time ever, Will, that someone's come on to talk about cave painting. So you've won a trophy for that one.
I'll take that.
Give us a success story, Will. I always like to ask this question because marketing often gets kind of labored with it's just that kind of nice fluffy stuff. But how have you kind of created something in reality, in the real world, that's made an impact for your clients and their businesses when it comes to their video content?
So like last year we worked with Matchall Golf Course to sort of produce them a they wanted a landing page promo video. So it was sort of in collaboration with a web design agency called 𝗖𝗵𝗿𝗶𝘀, based out of Norwich, and they would design the website, then need video to go on top of it. And so it was a case of, you know, going there for a couple of days and capturing and filming what it, you know, to capture the vibe and like just how friendly like this golf course is, because a lot of the time golf has become a lot more popular and can be sort of branded as quite like a posh sport, or like, you know, you've got to have like money to do it. And I just want to show sort of like what a friendly and welcoming environment it was to sort of go play golf there, and sort of like how they have everything from sort of like mini golf to simulators, like to like youth like sessions, and then like fun like scramble nights and stuff like that. So sort of like how could we sort of capture all of this in a video to put on their website for them to sort of show what it's all about? Because, and then once we sort of like done that, it was a great 2-day shoot, and then get some feedback from once the website goes live that like this is actually helping to increase web like traffic to our website quite a bit. And so then as a result is then, you know, driving other things like clicks and, you know, people visiting and sales and whatnot. So that was really, really great to hear, especially from my perspective, when video can often be quite a hard thing to like measure, like tangibly measure stuff. And so to hear it was having an impact on their website was awesome. And yeah, and once you sort of see your work in like it's a new environment to see my work as opposed to sort of on like an editing software onto like a website, I saw it in a completely different light, and it just like it sounds really biased, but I think the video actually looks better on the website, like just, you know, with the text and whatnot, like welcome to Maxwell Golf Course or whatnot in front of it, than it did elsewhere. And so for me, that was like really massive to see how that's like having an impact. And it's also once again just great to learn about the business and meet all these people that are like part of like a community, like a golf club. That's
good for you, Will. Good for you. Well done, sir, on that. I would love to throw at you a question around future trends, but I'm going to slightly adapt that, because I think often people spend too much time in the future and not in the present. And actually, people right now are thinking like, what video do I need to be creating tomorrow to make an impact for my business? So, broadly speaking, Will, if someone was to come to you today or even tomorrow and say, look, Will, what's working right now when it comes to video marketing for social media, for example, you know, is it portrait? Is it landscape? Is it short form? Is it long form? What types of stuff? Like, I would love for you to really just give me a general take on the state of video marketing in 2026, so that people can produce stuff that will work now rather than in the past or in the future.
Yeah. I think that's a good question, Chris. I think it's a tricky one to answer, because it's like it is dependent on what people want. However, I think the thing that is sort of that can be good for every brand is sort of like a brand origin story. There's something you can like pin at the top of your account, like on your Instagram or your Facebook or your TikTok or whatever, just to sort of like, because the question like most founders and people get asked when they go to like networking events, like, oh, who are you? What do you do? Sort of thing. And so if you have a digital way of answering that, like on like I say, it could be on your Instagram or your website or whatever, just sort of like, hi, my name's Gary and this is how I started my business or whatever, and just sort of explain the origin story of it. That's like one, like sort of said, like an evergreen piece of content you can have. No, it's not necessarily going to be making you crazy amounts of money. However, it's a piece of content that you can like attach to emails, attach to things, send all like people that are coming through your funnels just to watch this video so they can understand a bit more about you without having to waste time.
Well, I must interrupt you, my friend. Not because I disagree. Not that that matters anyway. I love that. I love the idea of an origin story video. So many people don't do it. So many people aren't utilizing a pinned post on whatever social it is still in 2026. And with it being so fast moving, right? It's just like, it's so hungry, feeding each of these platforms, all these content all the time, that often a part of your business will get left behind because you've not posted about it for 2 weeks, right? And so an origin story piece that encompasses everything, pinned to the top of your page, whether it be Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, etc., that is gold advice, Will. So I love that. Well, what are the mistakes that people are making on their videos where you're like, oh my God, that is just not good? Like, what are the kind of red flags, if you like, or the icks?
I think like one of the biggest like red flags or like icks for me is sort of when brands and businesses want to spec, like they'll say they'll hire you and be like I said earlier, oh, we've done XYZ for our marketing, but what they've actually done is they're just all they're doing is selling. Like this is like mainly key in sort of like, I guess, like direct to consumer brands or like public facing stuff that has, you know, that you're selling like memberships or product and stuff. where it's all like, all they'll do is just post sales things like, oh, I've got 20% off like our t-shirts this week, or no joining fee at a gym. And like, I've had that before with clients where they would like want me to, they'd have me on retainer, but want to do all these like creative video ideas and stuff like that. And then they'd just be like, can you just post us a video saying we've got like no joining fee at like our gym or whatever? I'm just like, yeah, it won't perform. Like,
yeah, sure.
Because no one, like, once again, you've got to imagine you're in the shoes of the consumer. Like, no one wants to be scrolling on socials just to see an ad, like, especially from a brand that they're following. It's like, it also breaks trust in a way. Yeah. Like, people don't want to be sold to. You should build a relationship with your consumer before you even try to sell to them. So give them value. Like, yes. So you've got to give them value about stuff. Like, if you were a clothing brand, like, oh, here's how you can, you know, the top 5 trends for summer 26 of styling tips or whatever. Or like, if you're a gym, like, oh, here's 5 ways to build your biceps. And then maybe at the end of the video say, like, by the way, if you're looking to like join a gym, we've got a no joining fee or whatever. Yes. That's a great way of like getting both bits, so they get value and then you can also maybe get sales from it. Or
but the other thing as well, Will, with that is people don't realize, like, it doesn't have to be done in the video. Like, why not add just a little kind of call to action within the post copy? Or it could be a call to action within the comment section when posting that video. So it doesn't need to be so sales heavy, but on the same time, to balance things out, you can just build rapport, and constantly share all of this educational, informative, interesting, exciting content, but not tell anyone to do anything. So of course there is a balancing act to be had, but I think that's I do agree, Will, that that's a big mistake to just be constantly doing sales messaging all of the time when it comes to their video. Will, let's give you an opportunity to plug your business now. Many small, medium, large businesses tuning into this. Where can people go to find you, to connect with you, to work with you when it comes to their video marketing?
So if you're looking to find me, the website, ridingwavemedia.com is sort of where you can find us, and then just drop us a contact on there. LinkedIn, so I'm Will George with like the wave emoji on LinkedIn, just so you know it's me. And once again, you can just ping me a message on there, or Instagram, which is, I think it's @will.georgie. So yeah, once again, I haven't posted a crazy amount on there because I'm so busy working. But once again, yeah, I know you have to practice what you preach, but like when work is so important as paying the bills, like Instagram takes a bit of a backseat.
It's almost like, Will, you should speak to a social media specialist.
I know. If only there was one around, Chris. Yeah, let me know if you see any. Or just directly email me at so I think it's will.george@ridingwavemedia.com. That's the other place to find me, or just maybe just see me in the street in Norwich or something, just shout at me.
Search for the wave, people. Will, thank you so much for your time and coming on and sharing so many insights and pieces of wisdom today. I really appreciate your time.
No worries. Thanks, Chris, for having me. It's been great.
And thank you so much to everyone that's watching live, watching back, listening back. If you've enjoyed this Coffee with Chris with Will, then please do get involved in the comments section. Leave a comment, subscribe on YouTube, give it a thumbs up, give us a 5-star review. All of those lovely things that mean that I can continue to book interesting and exciting guests like Will. Thank you so much for tuning into a Coffee with Chris. Thanks also for bearing with us whilst I've been on paternity leave. I'm back now, which means more content than ever before. And I will see you this time next week for another episode of A Coffee